Renee Griffith is a senior at Butte High School in Butte, Montana. A valedictorian of her class, one of the brightest kids in school. She was one of 10 students chosen on graduation day to get up on the stage and talk about things that were important to her, tell jokes or whatever the students wanted to do. A very long program, 2.5 hours, 10 students, adult speakers. And students said the silliest things, including Renee said some silly things like what she learned at school. And that was one of the primary reasons she was speaking along with the other 10 students that day. She said she learned you could wear underwear on the outside of your pants and get away with it on Weird Day or whatever day they have. And then she wanted to talk about something else she had learned. And this is when political correctness again reared its ugly head and she was censored. School officials saw what she was going to say about her religious faith. They told her to neutralize it or she'd be forbidden to speak. And like a trooper and someone who understands the First Amendment, she decided she would not compromise her values and actually say the few things she wanted to say, which probably would have lasted all of 25 or 30 seconds. And just to make sure I'm accurate, I'm going to read to you what she was going to say in this 2.5-hour program that caused such a stir. I learned to persevere these past 4 years, even through failure or discouragement, when I had to stand for my convictions. I didn't let fear keep me from sharing Christ and His joy with those around me. I learned to impart hope, to encourage people to treat each day as a gift. I learned not to be known for my grades or for what I did during school, but for being committed to my faith and morals and being someone who lived with a purpose from God with a passionate love for Him. So, for this small few sentences, 2 words were very offensive. The word God and Christ were offensive. And there's 2 words today that are politically incorrect and very, very taboo in public schools. In our current environment in this country, it's those 2 words, Jesus and Christ. She was actually forbidden from participating at all in the graduation ceremony, one of the best students in school. Instead of being honest with her, school officials hid behind the mantra of separation of church and state. But folks, this is not a separation of church and state problem. There are no state-paid teachers involved here saying anything. State and paid employees. What you have is a student who has a right to be in school in the first place. She has a right to be there attending school, and when she was invited to speak, she had a right to express her free speech views, which she was forbidden to do so. And the fact that she was standing on a platform in a public school really makes no difference. As I said, the program was over 2 hours long, and those few words she would have said about God and Christ, those 2 words, would have been lost in the sea of phrases and silliness that occurred that day. And believe it or not, everybody she was speaking to, virtually everybody in the audience, were adults. They can discern whether or not it's the state talking about religion or a student who is invited to speak. The old axiom that what we learn in school today is what we practice out in the future as adults is a truism in my opinion. What we're teaching kids today in school is that you have to be very politically correct, you have to pre-censor your thoughts, and you really can't step outside the bounds of what the schools want you to say, or you have absolutely no free speech rights. And there are no free speech rights in most public schools today. As many historians have said, civil liberties hang together. Our First Amendment is very important. It guarantees a lot of freedoms. If we start chopping down one, the right to state religious belief, sooner or later, in my opinion, all freedoms are going to fall, and they're going to fall like dominoes.